Hello and welcome to the U.S. Army Presents Reload, the Collegiate CSGO Invitational. I'm Corey Dunn. I'm joined here with Jonathan O. as we're about to kick off a really awesome series of matches today. We've got 4 teams today. Yesterday we had 3, which have already been narrowed down to 2 out of that group. They've moved on into the double elimination bracket. That is RMU and St. Clair College. We've got a whole new 4 set of teams. But if this is your first time tuning in with us here at Esports Stadium Arlington, let's go ahead and take a look at the format and prize pool so we can catch you all up to date of how this all shapes out. As we take a look here, it's going to happen. I promise. It's coming. There it is. Right? Yeah, there we go. So there we go. We've got 28 collegiate teams from the central and eastern region. They're going to be divided into 8 groups, which we've done here over the next 8 days. So 7 more days to go here, Jono, just to get to the playoffs. We'll be covering each one of these matches, and the top 2 teams from each of those double elimination brackets will then advance into the playoffs, and of course the playoffs is made up of 16 teams. How did you like what we saw yesterday in that 3-team double elimination bracket in Group A?
Well, it was exciting to say the least when we saw Com just popping off pretty much every game that he played in. And I think the format we'll see today will have 2 more matches, which will even be more development, more story. Obviously now we have to see 2 teams going home, but I think we'll have exciting matches to see today, and we've got some good teams going for us.
Awesome. Well, then when we look at over on this other side, you got the prize pool. It's all what it's all for. Of course, not just pride. It's also for money. You've got $3,000 for first. Second is $1,500, and third is $500. All matches, every single one of them, is going to be broadcasted right here on twitch.tv/esportsstadium. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here in this bracket and how everything kind of shapes up here. And you can see this is how the schedule kind of goes throughout this entire week or so. These 2 weeks is, of course, from April 27th to May 4th. We'll have our group play brackets, and then after that, in our May 5th through May 10th, will all be playoffs. The finals championship Sunday on May 10th. And then our exhibition match will be also on May 10th, right before the finals. That's the 3rd place team will have to face off against the U.S. Army CSGO team. Of course, none of this would be possible without the partnership with the U.S. Army and putting things together. If you want to stay in tuned with the action, make sure you head over to brackets.esportsstadium.gg. Are you looking forward to seeing the U.S. Army esports team and proving themselves of how they compete against all the rest of the teams here in our tournament?
I am looking forward to that, and Corey, we've got a lot of matches before we even get to that point, so I think we'll have built out a pretty nice storyline for ourselves, seeing what teams are able to make it that far into the bracket. First of all, I think the only team that we can really identify making it that far for certain right now is potentially RMU. We saw them yesterday having a pretty good performance against Texas A&M, moving on to the playoffs, but I think there's still a lot of matches to unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what it makes up is all the teams that are here in this tournament. 28 different collegiate teams that have joined us. We talked about RMU for a little bit, which is in your top left corner there, about being one of the top teams to be on the lookout for. They already advanced, but they only had to play 1 map yesterday based off of those 3 teams in that group. Then we look at the rest of the different teams that are here. I mean, we got Texas A&M that was here with us. They've been eliminated from the tournament. University of North Texas, which is an alumni for me, as well as UTD, which we'll see later on. They actually have 2 teams that are in the tournament. You got UTD and UTD JV that will be joining here in this tournament as well. So a lot of really great teams all across the central and eastern part of the United States and more so North America. And so we'll look out for all of those teams as we go through. But now it's time to talk about Group B and what it all encompasses. This is our focus for today. For the next 9 hours or so, we'll be covering these 4 teams and seeing who will advance the top 2 teams. Again, if you're just joining us today for the first time in this tournament, all upper bracket games are best of 1. All lower bracket games are best of 3. So all teams will have the chance to at least go through 1 best of 3 before being eliminated from the tournament. But if we look at on the very top half of our bracket, you've got UConn versus Oklahoma State University. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, doing some research, I saw that UConn is ranked they have a stat line of 10-1 in their CSL standings, whereas I couldn't find the ones for OK State. So in their name, it says OK last, and let's hope that's not the place that they finish in today against UConn. I think that's going to be a good match that we'll see. And they're going to have to put up a good performance, because we saw yesterday that RMU had a very similar record for themselves, and they were able to make it to the playoffs. And on the flip side, we've got Miami versus Tulsa, and according to their stat lines, we have Miami being 9-3 in their standings, and Tulsa being 7-5 in their CSL standings. So I think once again we'll have a pretty even match there. Yesterday we saw Texas A&M, who was 6-6 in their standings, versus St. Clair, who was 8-3. And once again, I think that's just the difference between having a good day or not, as Texas A&M took the first set, lost the second set, but we're putting up a good fight the whole way through. So I think this bracket play, we're going to see pretty competitive matches. If I had to make a gut prediction, I would say UConn would potentially make it out, with Miami, or MUOH, being the second team moving on out.
Miami University of Ohio.
Really?
Yes, that's
okay.
where we're at. So I don't want people to get too confused, but that's what it stands for. Miami University, Ohio.
Not confusing at all.
No,
Corey.
not at all. Not at all. And then, of course, Tulsa is from Oklahoma. So, but yeah, we got some really good stuff there. Next up, though, is one of the things that we'll be looking at throughout this entire day is some really, I'm looking forward to this very first matchup that we've got. So we'll see how that one kind of pans out. Now, before we head into that first match, John, what are some of the things that you kind of took away from yesterday?
Well, the main thing I took away is that the ban phase is very important for a lot of these teams. It seems that some of them not having the most amount of experience with their whole squads, not having the most, strategic play. As you mentioned, that Texas A&M was a team that they formed over their Discord server, which is a great thing. But as far as structured, really detail-oriented play, a little bit more shaky. And so every time we saw them banning overpass, and then immediately St. Clair picking overpass and then taking their map pick. So I think something we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the day is, now that we have 2 more matches, to see how the ban and picks develop over the series. And as you mentioned, we're going to have 3 best of 1s, and then we're going to have 2 best of 3s. And so I think throughout all of these, we'll have to see what the map pool looks like, not only for this stage, but then moving on into the playoffs, how these teams develop over time.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned here. Right after the break, we'll have our first matchup of the day. We've got UConn facing off against Oklahoma State University. We'll be back with our first and also pick bands right after the break. Welcome, welcome, welcome here to the U.S. Army Presents Reload Collegiate CSGO Invitational. We're about to head into our very first matchup. We've got UConn facing off against Oklahoma State University. Thanks again for joining us here at the Esports Stadium, Arlington. We've had the lucky opportunity. We've communicated with our municipality here at Arlington, Texas, and they have allowed us to be able to do this all from our venue. We're, of course, keeping our social distancing throughout the entire tournament, throughout the next 2 weeks, abiding by all the rules that have been set in place, as well as keeping our mask that we have on as well. See, even Jono's got his mask there as we kind of work around. So, again, paying attention to all the actual real things that are happening in our day and age. But with that said, we wanted to be able to provide a lot of these collegiate teams an amazing experience, and being able to host a tournament like this in a game that I hold near and dear to me, being Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I don't hold it quite as much history as you do, Corey, but I still love it nonetheless, and I'm having a great time being here.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop back into it. Let's take a look at the overall schedule of where this day is going to play out. So first things first is the UConn versus Oklahoma State. Then following after that is Miami University from Ohio. They'll be facing off against Tulsa. Both of those are our first upper bracket rounds. Then following that, we'll have the upper bracket round winners. They will face off, and whoever wins that matchup will advance into the playoffs. That's roughly at 2 p.m. Central Time. Then at 3 p.m. will be our first best of 3 of the day, where both losers from the first 2 matches will then be in that best of 3. That should be happening roughly around 3 p.m. And then our final match of the day, which will determine who are the remaining 2 teams, or the 2 teams that will be making it out of this group. That will be the winner of loser bracket 1A and the winner of loser 1A and the loser of upper round 2 as well. So that's how all that stuff will kind of break down. Let's go and take a quick look at the rosters before we dive into this one. You've got UConn that's right here. That's Ali, Lighty, as well as Q, Ray, and Splix, who will be hopping into the server. They'll be facing off against Oklahoma State University, and that's fictional Harry Joe, Lollipop, as well as OMG, It's Pancakes, and Sithis. So these 2 teams will be bouting it out here. We're going to take a quick look at the pick bands of how this one shaped out as well.
You know, Corey, that's what I wished I was saying this morning. OMG, it's pancakes.
Oh my God, yes, and bacon, with a side of bacon. So we look at it, you've got Dust 2, Inferno, Train, Overpass, Nuke, and Inferno. So it looks like we got to double up again here. We'll fix that. But then we end up on the final map, which is Vertigo. I'll take a look here what that actual map that was banned. So it was Dust 2, Mirage, Train, Overpass, Nuke, then Inferno. So that's how that one all kind of played out there. But those are your maps, and that's going to end us on Vertigo. So Vertigo is going to be our first map of today with Oklahoma State and UConn. What are some of your kind of insights? Yesterday you were saying you're expecting to see Vertigo, and today we are seeing Vertigo. What's your thoughts here?
Yep. So that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking, Corey, the second I saw Vertigo, I was thinking, okay, one team really wants this, and the other team probably didn't want this very much. But if it got all the way through, then I'm led to believe that both these teams feel like they've got something up their sleeves. As we kept mentioning, Vertigo is one of those maps that can really go either way. So there you see it. Oklahoma State with the Dust 2, Train, and Nuke, with UConn banning out Mirage, Overpass, and Inferno. I'm going to go ahead and get that from my notes for later, Corey, but I'm excited to see how they play out in Vertigo.
Yeah, so we're going to get these players back into the game here shortly. Of course, they probably have to ready up here. But next time we'll make sure that gets going right away. So if we look at it right now, you've got Dust 2. We're going to be taking all of these notes down throughout this tournament, so that we have a better in-depth understanding of a lot of the players throughout this tournament. So Oklahoma State, again, as you mentioned, banned Dust 2 as well as Train and Nuke. The Train and Nuke combination, that's pretty typical. If you see one team ban Train, you're probably going to see them also ban Nuke, probably at these tiers that we're looking at. But then kind of the overall banning Dust 2 is kind of interesting to me. That must be a little bit different of insight there. It is a very pug-style map that you can leverage. I would say the same for Mirage, but that's what we're seeing where Mirage got banned in the second map. So it looks like they're now joining back up into the server, which we'll be able to hop in with them in just a moment as well. But then looking at the last map, Inferno, then led us to Vertigo. Vertigo's still just so interesting to me. This is going to be some craziness, especially the fact that it just got updated pretty recently.
I'm actually very surprised. I was looking at this and thinking the exact same thing. If it was between Inferno and Vertigo, that you would think that Inferno would be the map pick. But that's just given that's like your layup map. That's where you just see who has the better fundamentals.
Yep.
Obviously, aim still is a very big factor there, but Vertigo being one of those maps is just such a swing-heavy map for really either side that it's fun to watch. I would say that I know it's very frustrating when you're playing on the CT side, just knowing how sometimes it can feel really T-heavy, but I think we'll just have to see how the teams play. We don't really have that much history behind them right now, so we'll just have to see how their stories play out.
Well, so there's so many different paths now that you have to look at. The bomb site, I believe, is the A bomb site has been completely shifted. Where how you have to approach it. It might be the B bomb. I'm probably mixing both of them up. The one that's farthest away from CT spawn, that one they've reshaped how that bomb site has been done, and then they've also taken away that window. That window inside of mid was so critical. It made such an impact play for a lot of players that were able to go between that window back and forth. So hopefully, as we see, that has been adjusted. We're currently working to see who's going to be starting on what side for the knife round, or sorry, for the sides. It is a decision that will come in for, I believe it's Oklahoma State. They have the call here. But again, we're here on Vertigo. So we'll take a look around as we're about to kick this game off. The players have been waiting for us to be able to start the broadcast. Again, we've got so much Counter-Strike to hop into. But yeah, this area of that bomb site, so it is the B bomb site.
It was the A bomb site. That was A ramp was what we were
that's where we were checking out was the A site. But the B bomb site was the one that I was talking about.
Okay, gotcha. And they also made some adjustments quite a while ago to the A site as well. So, this map has definitely seen a lot of updates.
Zero suffered injuries. That's good.
That is pretty good, Corey. So, looks like we're getting on into the match. We have UConn on the CT side and Oklahoma State starting off on the T side. So, Corey, just off a quick observation, do you think, just as a gut feeling, since you guessed it yesterday, you said 16-9, it was 16-10. Who are the players you think we need to keep an eye on?
I don't want to give any predictions to kick off the day. I'll have to watch at least a couple matches of each of these teams. So I'll make predictions in the upper bracket and the loser bracket rounds, but not during our first two matches.
Oh, and I got shammed. They switched the names on me as I was getting into it. So it's actually UConn on T side and Oklahoma State on the CT side.
Yep. All right, so now as we get things started, you see the earlier – oh, nice shot by Fictional to kick things off. He's got that – that's the new window that I was talking about. And you can see how quickly you can get boosted up or get into the window utilizing those cones. And so there you go. They're just going to be a battle over mid. That's pretty much how Vertigo goes, as it is a constant battle over mid. And Ali taking down Sithis. That's a good battle between these two. There's going to be a little bit of different naming that's going to happen inside of the game versus what you're going to see here. But if you look over on the side, those names are accurate. A lot of these players, for those of you that are wondering, that we are leveraging the Faceit client because we wanted to provide the best gaming competition experience possible. So they are on 128 tick with anti-cheat as well. So if you see any odd names that come up over on the side, we'll make sure that we relay those to you who they are. But look at Splix to start a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the eco. And he's going to go ahead and chase for this fifth one, looking for that ace. He knows that somebody's there running up. I think it did. No, he did not catch him. He hears him running, though. And there, oh, no! Sithis said, no, peace, I'm out. As he skydives off the building. Hopefully we don't see the bottom. All right, good.
I think that was actually very intentional. He realized that he was trying to hunt him down for the ace. Didn't want to try to take the fight. Didn't want to give him the ace, and that I don't know if I disagree with that or not, but that's an extra $600 had he gotten that kill.
300.
300.
Yep.
Well, he had a max 10.
So if he was able, you're accurate. Yes. Yep.
And so, obviously the money's still in favor of UConn on this side, but Oklahoma State got some guns for themselves now, so this is the first round with which we'll see them have a pretty solid defense. Now they've got a little bit more control over that mid area. Not as fast coming out this time around as UConn. We saw a fast 8 hit, and they were met by no one, and in fact, everyone went mid on the side of OK State, but that's a nice pickup there from Ray. Already setting the score. Now it's a 3v5 just like that.
All right. Take a look. You actually see a Negev brought out.
It's going to be one of those games, Corey.
Hey, if it holds people down, that's a good call. But now, as Harry Joe, there was just a sliver right there that Lighty was able to pick up, and then Lollipop over the top, taking down Light there. So now Lollipop just on watching the flank, and they're both going to get eliminated at the exact same time. 3-0 to kick things off for UConn. I think Oklahoma State's going to have a lot of fun with this one. But yeah, seeing a Negev in the third round is nice to see.
Yeah, it's certainly different. I'll say that. That's not quite the weapon I was expecting to see, but we saw it nonetheless. So that's a first one on the board for the Negev. And so something we talked about yesterday
what is going on here? Lollipop buying an M4 full nade set, and the rest of his team going, wait a minute.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. So Lollipop, he's got an M4. Let's go to find where he's at. So there's Lollipop. He's kind of holding back a little bit. He's going to probably watch. Yeah, he's going to watch over A bomb site with his teammates, but he doesn't want to give up this M4. He wants to try to be able to maintain it and keep it into the next round. So if you see a bomb plant come in from UConn, I would expect Lollipop to run away.
And now we're seeing a slow approach onto that A site. Sithis is the only one there in immediate action. He's got a deagle, so he can try and do some damage. Harry Joe finding one, Lollipop finding another one, so that M4 coming into play a little bit. It's a 2v3 situation, and it looks like he's just going to try and save those guns, but actually they're kind of going back and forth. They might try to take
Lollipop
the site.
needs to run away.
Important thing here is they don't have a kit.
He still needs to run away.
Yes, at this point he does not have
even
a kit.
Exits. You do not even want an exit here. There's no purpose in trying to get an exit.
And the second he makes this shot, they're going to know where he's at, and there he goes. So luckily he gets the one kill. Now he's going to try his best to get away.
He better not try to jump off the map. That would be a very improper call here.
You see that he's actually getting hunted down though.
Yeah, that's the right call for the other team from UConn, is to chase him down to see if they can find him. They do not find him. He is able to maintain the M4, so it ends up not being as bad of a situation as it could have been. He did play it the right way, but I know that he's probably wishing that Counter-Strike had the same feature as Valorant, where you could basically be able to sell back your weapon earlier in the round.
That is certainly an interesting feature.
That feature's so awesome. I've seen so many people go, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and save, actually, and then people just sell all their weapons back. That's such a cool feature.
But we're back into Counter-Strike, Corey, and we have less features here.
I can say all that because I've been playing Counter-Strike for 21 years, so I'm allowed to say it.
21 years?
Yep. Beta 5.
Golly. That feeling when Corey's been playing Counter-Strike almost as long as I've been alive. Goodness.
I was 12, so.
Oh, wow. That puts it in perspective. Anyways, we're putting this round back into perspective. We've got a 4v4, and it looks like, once again, UConn trying to take the A hit. Using some utility. It worked out for him last time. We see Q going up for...
He's lurking.
Yeah, he's lurking on B side. He's going to... If his team waits just a little bit more, he'll find out the site's completely empty.
Yeah,
but they're just going to take the fight. So 1 going down and 5 this?
They have the right smokes. That's what we're seeing, is they're able to get those smokes into the A bomb site, which is allowing them to have easy plants. But let's go ahead and hop over on board with Q for a second. Q is on the flank. He's picked up 1. Now he's given away his position, so he's just going to toy with them. That's the right call. Oh, it's fictional. In the smoke. Drops him there with that one.
Well, that's what you get for playing with your food. So it's all on to Pancakes. He's going to, misses the shot. Now he's got to get out of there. They know where he's at. Look how fast they are running at him. They are holding W, knives out. And that's
unfortunate. That is a granny op. So 5-0 in favor of UConn.
They didn't even need the op. Look at the money on their side. They've got.
Yeah, they were definitely chasing to take away the op from him.
As your comment yesterday, Corey, they have enough to buy 2 chickens, a goat, maybe even some land for themselves to put them. I mean, they've got it all. They could afford the building that Vertigo is built on at this point.
They can buy the farm, is what I was trying to get at last time. So one of the things that we'll look at for this is Splix with an early start there. Nice pick. But this is going to be a save round here. Again, Lollipop buying some type of weapon.
It's really funny that Pancake actually died where there was a spray pointing up exactly to where he was at. It's almost coincidental.
You will die here.
Yeah, foreshadowing maybe a little bit too much. There it is. You saw the spray there. And once again, UConn looking like to take another slow structured approach.
Let's watch this nade here. See the molly go over the top. So they molly off that area, so it forces that player to not have a way to retreat. And there's the same headshot. They've got perfect angles to worry about. They don't have to be concerned about that back hallway because they mollied it off. Here's that smoke to allow them to get the same plant in the exact same position. That's a difficult spot to be able to defuse from. UConn just has a single strat, and that's what they're relying on. And I think the only way that Oklahoma State can be able to make an impact here is they have to be more aggressive. They have to go ahead and take the fight out there in front of them, because what they're allowing UConn to do is get to position and then throw their set smokes and mollies.
Absolutely. I think some teamwork elements need to be put into place here. As we saw, Pancakes had a super far forward position on A ramp, and that's 1 for Lollipop there, so he's going to take 1 gun away but loses 1 in return. So still painful, but as mentioned, we saw Pancakes standing on A ramp by himself. 1 flash grenade was all it took to take him out. And I think, as you said, getting aggressive could absolutely work in their favor. Maybe getting an aggressive flash out themselves, have 2 guys swing, maybe A ramp, see what happens, see what you find there. Try to get some information, because right now they're just sitting in corners and they're all getting poked out. The only person on the team having a stand-up performance right now is Lollipop with 5, and This is still actually -1. So we're going to need to see these guys step up. We're going to need a little bit more utility and teamwork. And there it is. There's some flash going to A ramp. Nothing out of it. Trying to bait some utility out perhaps from the side of UConn, but they are cool, calm, and patient. Once again, stacking towards that A ramp. We see on the side of, who is that? Is that Q once again on that B side? All he knows is that there's 1 guy left with him on the B side.
So I'm going to take this back for just a second while we look at this kind of round kind of slowly play out here. One of the things I want to take in consideration is going back to the pick bans, okay? I think this all started with the fact that Ollie's team, so Sithis was the one that voted and banned Dust 2 off the start. That was, I think, the wrong choice at that point, because what it ended up allowing in the very end, of course, hindsight's 20/20, but in the end, it allowed UConn to make the decision of whether they wanted to ban Inferno or Vertigo. And if you feel very confident that you've got a set strat like what we've been seeing, then you choose to ban Inferno because that is a very pug-style map. Everyone has strats for that because it is a default setup. You heard that from Welshie yesterday from RMU. It is a very pug-style default map setup, and that's what you do, and that's how you execute. Vertigo, especially in this new iteration, is like that. And so now, again, we're down to this 2-on-1, and Fictional is just trying to find himself an AK. He's not going to be able to get out of this alive with this AK, whether it was through the bomb or through the getting eliminated by another teammate or by an opponent, and so that's going to be at 7-0. I just want to put that into consideration, though. The fact is this could have gone all the way back to the fact that Sithis and team had banned Dust 2 out of the gates whenever they could have banned a map, because they were already in the train of banning Train, Nuke, all of the unique, very strat-based maps.
Well, Corey, to be quite honest with you here, it seems like they're just a little bit not in sync, as we see Lollipop once again investing fully into this round with Armor, Kid, and M4 and some utility, whereas his teammates, we see Fictional only a CZ on the side of him, so he'll have a buy next round, but Lollipop will not. So I think at some point you got to call a timeout and kind of just get everyone back on board. Try to figure out a strategy that works for you, because what they're doing right now is unorganized, to say the least. So Lollipop's got to do it all here on the A side. He sees 4 people. He gets 1 and the bomb, but it's not going to be enough as Q and Ray able to take them out, and that will close out round number 8. 8-0. OK State's got to figure something out here.
Now, UConn is a higher ranked team out of this matchup, so there's no fault there. OSU, they've got a really awesome avatar. They've got a good icon that they're leveraging as a team. So I'm not going to take that away from them. I mean, not only did they put 1 chicken on there, they put 2. So I think that's awesome. So we'll see how they set up. But sit this. I know that you were being smart during the initial round and you jumped off the map. You didn't want to get aced in round number 1. But now you have to make up for that -1. And he hasn't since the beginning of the game.
Well, he's got his opportunity now. That was a missed molly on the back of Sandbag, so that player's going to be able to stay there. Not much longer, but he still has the opportunity, and it is Pancakes. He's trying to flash himself out, trying to see what he can find. Sithis also in a good crossfire position, so they might be able to find one here. One aggressive flash coming out, Corey. That's what you wanted to see, but not finding the pickup. And there it is. We're back to 0. Sithis finding Ray, and we are on a 4v5 on this A site once again. And if you look on the screen, you see Q once again being Noi on the B site. So Splix, nice flank there. He's going to catch one, and now they're completely discombobulated. They have no idea where the rest of this team's at. They're actually rotating over to B as they now know that they have the site. They're going to have to either take this retake all the way on to the B site, or they're going to have to save here. And well, I think that's no longer an option as they both just died.
Yeah, I just had to call out Sithis. Just one of the things I was really happy about all of these collegiate teams. They've been awesome to work with all the way through. I've been talking back and forth with each one of the captains from these teams. So just calling them out, and I think providing a little bit of ability for them to actually do something. You saw Sithis now; he's evened himself out. So 9-0. You had mentioned earlier that Oklahoma State should have called a timeout, leveraging those, and finally we see it here. Now they don't have money to play with yet, and Sithis elects to buy a FAMAS with the rest of his team not having any choices here. Lollipop, of course, he's all for buying whatever you can. So man, Again, another confusing point here. You've got 2 players that both have FAMASs. At this point, you just go ahead and have everybody even out.
Yep, I was
buy
just
Deagles,
about to say
buy whatever you get. Well, we do have 2 CZs. They're just there we go. Now we've got the taser, and we'll see how this one goes. Now you're playing for shots here.
Yeah, it seems like it's not working out for them. They were able to find 1 pick in Ray, but Ray immediately catching it back with the Molotov there. We're holding on with Harry Joe, and now Harry Joe is Harry gone.
Let's stay with Fictional for a second. I want to see if he can get this tase.
Well, unfortunately for him, there's no one really around him, and I think his best bet is to hold this angle. They've been pushing A ramp every time, and now he's getting mollied, so he's got to push forward. Seems like the rotation's already happening over to go to the B bomb site, so there's no one even there. Lollipop's the last one, or excuse me, Lollipop being taken out, and now we're left with Fictional.
And Fictional with the CZ, he's going to get dropped there. 10-0 right now. This is a tough map. This is one of those things that I think that Vertigo is just really tough map. Whenever if you don't have some of your strategies working well, if you're not buying well together. I mean, look how off these buys are now. So you can see Pancakes has now bought himself an M4, which then in return Lollipop is now having to buy a UMP. Sithis again with the FAMAS, not a full nade set. So again, they're just so mixed up. They're not buying completely together. Now I will say UConn is playing extremely well. They're hitting all of their shots. They're peeking every angle properly. They're taking it slow and methodical. Watching Lighty right now, you see how he's checked every single position, waited for his other teammates to cover him on different angles. So they're playing this extremely well. So there is 2 different sides of the story.
Absolutely. So once again, we're just seeing the same hit that we saw previously.
Yep.
Ray's finding another pick on that A side. You see him there.
And Q on that same lurk that we've seen before as well.
Absolutely. And once again, they're just on top of the site. And if it almost looks like they're just calling for an early save, but Q is going to be in a pretty good position to try to find anyone either rotating or trying just to save. And now lightly finding 2. Sith is going down, and now it's all up to Pancakes, the man with the M4. All the utility the kit and the armor. So if he's able to save that, he's going to have a pretty good round for himself next time. He finds 2 kills, actually, and he's coming from A ramp. He's got the kit. He can make this happen if he's getting the bullets. Light's going to be pushing forward, didn't expect it, and that's going to make it 11 rounds here on the side of UConn. So, Corey, as mentioned, I wanted to see a timeout just so that they can kind of get reorganized, but it just seems like since then that I don't know. Something was very confusing to me about that in the sense that they took that timeout, and yet we still, once again, look at it. Lollipop keeps investing.
Where's that smoke ending up at?
Pancakes just on a deagle. Harry Joe only on a deagle, and
there it is right there. Awesome. We can really break down what they're doing here on this map. I mean, it's the exact same setup every single. I mean, it's 11-0, so you don't change anything. I mean, the fact is it's working, and also you're not having to show any other strats in the tournament.
Exactly.
There's different side effects. Now, people are going to realize they're going to try to dissect this round over and over again. It's easy to check out the demos and say, like, okay, Q plays, he rotates this way, he checks every angle this way. It does this very, methodically. This player, we've got Lighty, he hops up over on this box every single round. This smoke is hit here. All of those different things are kind of thought through. So let's go ahead and hop back over to OMG Pancakes, as he's the last one alive here. Let's see if he can at least pick up one before he's taken out. He does not. Splix takes him out. 12-0. All 5 players are left alive, and we've got 2 players at 16K before this round started.
Yeah, Corey, this is looking bleak. I mean, I don't really have words for this. I think OK State's going to have to just take this one and almost at this point not throw in the towel. They've still got one gun round in front of it, and Negev coming out again for Fictional. They've definitely got to figure something out. They're at least in a little bit more sync with the utility and the weapons this round. They've got AWP, 2 rifles, the Negev, and the MP7. So not too bad, but once again, we're just seeing that same exact hit from UConn. If they're not able to stop it this time, then to your point, Corey, they're not showing any other strats. That's a nice pick from Lollipop. That's taking a rifle out of the hands. If he's able to get that AK, that could be something. And Lollipop actually holding down the B site this time. So Q...
But there's nobody ever attacking him.
Yeah.
And in the eyes of UConn, there's only one bomb site on this map.
They have planted a few times on B, or they've at least made the rotation over, and man, these entry frags are just devastating.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good shot. So there you go, Harry Joe slowly warming. There's another one. Now he's starting to make some impact here. Might as well. I mean, you're at it. Go ahead. Go shoot now, too. So he's going to throw his own smoke there, help himself out. Just behind him, though, is Lighty, and stabby McStab, as Light takes him out. Man, 13-0, but Harry Joe, take that in consideration. The fact is that you had some really nice shots back-to-back there to start it off. All right, so this is what I want to do going into this round before the final round is kind of take a look at every single one of the setups here. So again, Lighty is going to be pushing up here. I'll stay on the T side for this time frame. So you got Q that's on the lurk. We know that happens time and time again. Now switch back over to Lighty. Splix has been kind of an over-rotating. Ali plays this angle right here. And then you've got Ray who's watching that back hallway. So this is your standard working way. Nice. So there's a constant spray action that you're seeing there from him. He's not being challenged too. That's something to take in as you're making notes for this round. I'm helping whoever is going to play against UConn again on Vertigo, because this strat is something else. All I'm doing is calling it out. I'm not giving any. How do you counter it?
Yeah, and just to your point, Ray actually has been getting challenged. It's just that he's been winning all the duels. So in the sense that he hasn't been challenged with more of a fight, maybe try double peeking him next time. Trying to get just some picks on the board, because Ray's just kind of picking him piece by piece at the aim side, allowing them to get in. And now Pancake's holding a good angle with the shotgun. That could give them something. He's going to find one. That's not nothing, Corey. That's $900 in his pocket, but an AWP. Oh, he actually misses the shot. Yeah, Pancakes could do some damage here. That's another one. So, he's doing some damage here. They might find a 14 here. He doesn't have time.
Yeah, no, it's... If I look at it right now, one of the things is being the team from UConn, they definitely have really good potential here throughout the tournament. We expect them to place really, really high in this overall tournament. But one of the things that you have to make note of in early in the tournament is that you can't go into different matches lackadaisical. And basically say I'm the best team in this entire group. They, based off of what we're seeing right now, they're definitely better than Oklahoma State at this point in time. But I would be mindful of how you play the rest of these games. Now, UConn, the benefit that they have for them if they do win this group, or they get first or second in this group, they have 6 days before they have to play the next match. So they're going to be completely reset before they have to even think about going into this. So it's not as big of a concern for me of how they're playing already in this map 1 of our second day in Group B.
I will say, even though they're not showing strats as really as what we saw yesterday, they have definitely shown that their utility usage, their setup ability is fantastic. Yep. Every time you see a one Molotov go out, there's already another angle covered by another Molotov. They have a player there checking the angle, and now it seems like they're actually having a little bit of trouble getting into this A site. We see all 4 players on the side of Oklahoma State stacking it. They've got weapons to be able to fight it. They just need to make sure they're landing the shots. So Pancake's missing 1 and missing 2. Q able to pick up Ray, finding the 3rd, and Q closing it out. So that is 15-0 in the side of UConn. Leading the server is Light Sniper with 19, Lighty. And then on the bottom is this, Sit this.
Yep.
He's actually at 2. He jumped off once and had negative 1, so he's got 2 kills to his name. But now, Corey, is the question, 16-0 or 15-1?
Oh, it's not going to be 15-1. I know for a fact it will not be 15-1.
Well, then it has to be 16-0, right?
16-0 or 16-3. I'll go with 16-2 if it goes that way. So let's go 16-3.
Okay, I said 16-0 or 15-1.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not that.
Okay. Okay, I see. You just decided to take the none of the above option.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice shot from Pancake, actually, and that's another good shot from him there. They're going to be able to take this A site, and now as all the players start shooting down, nice shot there from Q. He's able to find 2. He sees the bomb going down.
Pew. Oh, this time, there he goes.
A 3rd, and that's a 4th. And
yep.
Corey, that is a 16-0.
Ouch.
Just as the round started, it is over just like that. So Ray, we see him there on the screen just getting close with his teammates, and that will close it out. UConn showing force on this side of Vertigo.
Wow. Well, so I mean, taking a look at that overall game, the reality is UConn, they had a very set strat, but I want to take it back for a second. Like I said before, I think we were in round 7 at that point. It's 7-0, so I guess round 8. And as we looked at it, I would go back to the fact that it was about the pick bands and knowing what type of team you're playing against. If you're going to play against a high-caliber team that you would expect that's been teamed together for a long time, that has been playing very well, one of the things that I would always consider is don't play them in a map that you feel that can be fully set up for different types of strategies. One of the other things, though, that I would look at as well, as you said, it's going to be a tough one to beat against somebody that plays like that methodical play style. That reminds me of a lot of some of the French teams that used to really come out there. You had Very Games and Titan and LDLC and a lot of these older French teams and their play styles whenever when you had Extents and other players that would be playing back then, is that they were so heavily reliant on strategy and being cognizant of their nade sets and what they were doing. The challenge is whenever they got slapped in the face. And so that's something that I would expect. If you think UConn, now I don't want to make the assessment that that's what type of play style that UConn is. I just think they saw something that worked, and why would you change it? And so I think that's why they did what they did over and over again. I don't think we actually got the chance to see the real UConn, but if that is who they are, a very methodical, throwing set nades every single time, I would be fearful for them just because there could be a team that just comes out. Think like Com from Texas A&M. If you have one player that's like that's that disruptive, I would be concerned at that point, and there might be something that comes into play. But again, that's just trying to make an assessment off of a single map. This is the first time I've ever watched these two teams play.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good assessment. As we saw yesterday, Com was just throwing wrenches into the St. Clair's strategies, and he would just go out there and literally just go kill. Dropping 42 is dropping 42 kills. You just can't. You have no strategy around that. If someone drops 42 kills, you're having a bad time. You're starting to get a little bit tilted. Your strategies aren't cutting them off. And we just didn't see that on the side of Oklahoma State. It pretty much got every execute that they wanted on the side of UConn, and there was really no contention of that. As you mentioned, it was just we'll keep doing it until it stops working, and then it gets to round 7, and then they call a timeout, or round 8, and they're like, all right, well, we're just going to do it until it keeps not working. And it just worked until 15-0, and then they found the pistol, and the next thing you know, this map's over, and we're talking at the desk.
So match 1 is over, and UConn takes that one 16-0. So that brings us into our match schedule, and we'll take a look here. For the match schedule, you've got UConn again taking that one against Oklahoma State. Next up, Miami University, Ohio. versus Tulsa. That will be coming up after the break, so stay tuned. We've got another great matchup. This is Group B that you're watching right here from the Esports Stadium, Arlington. We're watching the U.S. Army presents Reload Collegiate CSGO Invitational. We'll be back with more Counter-Strike action after all of this.